Hey, you're welcome. Okay, Nicole has sent a little tome here. Okay, so it's another niche one. Island 1 and Island 2. Okay, so thoughts. Do you feel like, okay, so right away, I'm just going to say the amount of words here, I'll read it all out, but the amount of words here just tells me that there's probably more honing to do. Ideally, and here's a challenge for everyone, could you say Island A in 3 words and Island B in 3 words? If we can't, we probably haven't gotten it yet. Then you can be relaxed and extend it to 7 words and 7 words. But the heart of it, for me, it might be marketing feels gross. And Island B might be marketing feels good. Yeah. Simple, very simple. Can't sleep, 2 words. Great sleep, 2 words. It's very simple from their standpoint. From our standpoint, we bring all this nuance and complexity to it. But from their standpoint, this stuff is dead simple. Okay, so Nicole, where are you calling from?
Barrie, Ontario.
Barrie, Ontario. All right. Oh, welcome. Okay, so you said, do you feel like you are not living life, rather being pushed or pulled by it? Perhaps feeling like life is moving faster than you can keep pace with, or like you're going through the motions on autopilot? Do you feel like you're trapped in your mind, perhaps thinking about moments that have already happened, wishing you could change them while trying to predict the future and worrying what life will look like if those predictions come true? Are you no longer finding purpose, meaning and purpose in what you're doing? Perhaps you've checked all the boxes of what you believed would make you happy, yet you're still unsatisfied. Would you like to feel a sense of freedom, freedom from challenging thoughts, feelings jerking you around and pulling you into self-defeating behaviors? Would you like to reconnect with yourself, rediscovering who and what's important to you, and develop a realistic plan to help you move towards creating a more meaningful life? Would you like to reclaim more of your mental and emotional energy from worrying, obsessing, judging, and dwelling, instead investing your energy into what matters? Okay, that talks about the modality. Right, okay. So what do you guess I'm going to say here?
I'm really good at taking a short story and making it long rather than taking a long story and making it short.
This is tough. I mean, there's no shame for anybody here. This is just hard stuff. Everybody struggles with niching. Everyone I know. So anyone who feels like, oh, I should have this nailed, I would really question that thought. That's it's just tough, and especially because we don't know a lot about niching. That's a separate skill from doing what you do. So we're here learning, and that's how it is. Okay. Out of all those things, which are all wonderful, I mean, each one of those is something I think most of us can relate to. There's probably either one or there's a focus that might be useful. There's a few questions I have though. First of all, are you working locally or globally?
I do everything over, well, some clients I have that I go see in person, but to keep my costs down, I do everything over Zoom, and then that way I can charge less because my overhead is a lot less.
Yeah. Okay. So for everybody around niching, I call this the inverse law of geography. And it goes like this. The broader the geographic range, the narrower your niche has to be. Yeah, if you're in just Barrie, Ontario, which is not the tiniest town, but it's not the biggest town, then you probably have to be more of a generalist, because there just isn't such a population base to sustain, a hyper specific niche. But if you're reaching everyone in the world on the internet, you almost can't get specific enough. And people are often shocked at how specific some of these niches are. I'll give an example of something. This is it's top of mind because she's in the membership that I have right now, Nisanka, and her target market is she helps people who are co-parenting with a narcissistic ex. That's very specific. You kind of know if you're in that or not. And if you heard that and you thought that's me or I know somebody, coachingwithnisanka.com, you'll find it. So, okay, so that was one question. And the other one is, How many clients have you worked with at this point?
Over my whole like career or since I started my own private practice?
Over your whole career.
Probably about 100.
Okay. And where these things that you wrote here, does this come from reflection of who you've worked with? Or how, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So then as you look at those, if there was one of those issues, well, actually, here's my other question. What got you into this? Why are you doing this work that you do? Why, like, I know it's because it's so much big money here, but what drew you to this kind of work?
I was in big money. I was in the corporate world. I did workplace wellness for 10 years. Worked mostly on diabetes prevention, cardiovascular disease prevention, and I just found it too boxing. I wanted to be this bird that could fly, but I was constrained by policies and procedures of these big corporations. And I had a psilocybin journey, which basically showed me all the boxes and the ways I wasn't free. And
Yeah.
so I changed my entire personality from corporate. I would maybe use the word narcissist in there. Just wanted to be on top, right? Make the money, get the good job, check all the boxes, and still feeling unsatisfied. So I basically did all this work on myself, used ACT for myself, and now I'm a much happier,
Mm,
much more compassionate, loving, generous person, and I pass that on to my clients um, by working with them. So.
that's beautiful. So, I mean, have you considered having something like that as a niche? Like you're in the corporate, you're wanting to detox from the corporate world. You're wanting to be for like not being a career coach, but it's like that the corporate world is toxic. I don't know if that would be a target market. Have you considered something like that?
Um, I haven't considered, I mean, I haven't. A lot of the clients that I have are professional women. But I guess if I were to kind of narrow it down to one little factor and one little solution, it would be freedom. So when you look at, I follow a lot of Buddhist practices, and so nirvana or enlightenment or freedom or transcendence, that's kind of what we all want, our greatest value. And the biggest inhibitor to that is fear. So fear of inadequacy, fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of uncertainty, which really at the core of that is a fear of suffering.
Okay,
So
I
I
got that. I
teach
got all
people
that.
how to not suffer, how to overcome fear of suffering. Okay.
Yeah, that's all human beings on the planet. You see, now we're back to no niche at all.
Yes.
So it's also point of view based. So I just want to flag this for everyone. This is devilishly hard. And just because people are being hot seated and it's illumined, it doesn't mean it's not true for a lot of people on this call. It slips in. So again, the question is this. This is the thing I would have you think about with your niche. If you make a list of the top 10 clients you've ever had, the ones you love, the ones who are the best, the ones you've gotten the best results for, who brought out your best, the ones you felt most competent in helping and also enjoyed the most, all of that, what were the situations they were bringing? Because unless they were walking in the door saying, I want more freedom and I want freedom from suffering, unless they said those words, unless that's what they were consciously craving and articulating, it's probably not it. They were probably coming, and they probably continue to come with more surface level concerns. And then we look at it and we say, aha, what's really happening is you're not free, and you're trapped by your thoughts. But that's not, almost certainly that's not how they see it. Now, if there's enough people out there who are in that boat and you can find them, wonderful. But it's probably more of a painful situation, a symptom, not a diagnosis. So it's probably more like, um, can you think of a situation somebody brought to you, a client that you really
Yeah.
enjoyed?
So my favorite clients to work with are perfectionists, as a perfectionist in recovery myself. So those are my favorite ones to work with, which usually brings anxiety along with it, as well as the I'm not good enough story, which again, I think is pretty universal. Many of them have turned to substances in order to distract or numb these anxious thoughts. So the substances vary. Sometimes it's alcohol, sometimes it's drugs, distractions. So sometimes they've spent all their money shopping.
Are
Sometimes
they are
they're
they aware that they're perfectionists?
Most of them are, yeah. They're
Yeah.
aware um, that they have to do things a certain way, that they never feel like they're good enough, even if they've done everything correctly. Like I said, checked all the boxes. Or people
Okay.
pleasers,
So
right? They're doing
they're
everything for others.
okay. That's slightly different. Though I get the connection. But okay, but let's just roll with the perfectionist thing for a while. So they're a perfectionist. Um, so that's a situation, but I don't know what if it's a problem. I mean, okay, so you're always trying to get it just exactly right. Well, hey, I'm sure people appreciate that. You know, you're getting things real good. So why is that a problem? What are the consequences of that?
Yeah. So how I describe it is if you get the I'm not good enough story, which, oh gosh, here I am making a short story long again. Got to work on this. I'm attending your seminar next week to try and figure this out.
Okay.
Um, is the idea of we all have this big book of rules that's come from our conditioning of what perfection
Okay,
looks
let's
like for
pause.
us.
Let's pause. You're
Okay.
going into theory. Here's again, this for everybody. This is an exercise you can do. If you notice that what you're writing down for your niche is very point of view based, diagnosis based, try this. You look at it, and so Nicole, this is the homework that I'll give you: is to look at the diagnoses like people pleasing, perfectionist, but you might pick, let's just say, start with perfectionism, and you say, okay, what are the real world consequences of being a perfectionist? What actually tangibly happens in somebody's life when they're a perfectionist? Um, yeah, and as gritty as possible. Like they get reports in late because it's never quite good enough. They stay late at the office. They are neglecting their family. They are constantly stressed. They're having anxiety attacks all the time. We want to be very specific about it because we want something that when they read it, they say, "Oh my God, are you spying on me? How do you know what's going on in my life so well?" And and for almost everybody, if you're a service provider, especially if you're in coaching or the healing arts, this idea that our deepest wound is often a doorway to our truest niche is extremely accurate most of the time. So if you're ever just like wondering what the hell, where do I focus? Because there's so many issues I love helping people with. There's so many things I'm interested in. The useful thing is to think, what have I overcome in my life? Where did I really, really struggle that, these modalities and these approaches help me? What is that thing that this was most transformative to me around? That's probably going to be the easiest way. And one of the reasons it works so well is because then you don't have to theorize about what the consequences are. You can just remember it. And then a sales letter becomes it becomes a love letter to who you used to be. And you're just remembering as you write. I remember what it was like to be in this situation and how hard this was. And I remember all the things I tried, and I tried the substances, and I tried the distraction, and and it was fun for a while. I had a great time, but at the end of the day, it didn't work. And finally, what I came to see was XYZ about the perfectionism, let's say, and and I came to these realizations, and I used this modality, and here's what's changed for me. And if you're struggling and you feel like you're finally ready to let go, and for everybody, the one of my favorite exercises around niche too is you do the 3-column exercise and you say, okay, when is it too soon for me? You know, they're just not ready to work with me. When is it too late? There's such a thing as both in niching. And then third, when's that perfect moment? What's the sweet spot where if they show up there, I can hit home runs if they show up in that moment. But you understand a sweet spot, a situation is not this isn't a theory. This is the story. This is a real tangible vignette of somebody's life. It's like a snapshot of their life at a certain moment that would be instantly recognizable to them. It'd be like you took a photo, but what would be in that photo? If you were going to take a photo of your um, perfect client at the perfect moment to work with you, at that, the kind of breaking point for them, a literal photograph, I would actually suggest doodling it out. Like, what would that moment look like? So for me, it might be somebody marketing their stuff and somebody saying, "You're so slimy. Why is your marketing so slimy?" Or something, and they, "Oh God, how did that happen?" Or they see Facebook comments laughing about their Facebook ads and saying, "Oh, here's another one of those coaches." Oh God, no. These can be very painful moments for people. So what is that breaking point? So keep working on it. I know there's something there. And it just may be more that we can get into today. But thank you so much for asking your question. Yeah, niching takes time. I really encourage everyone to think about niching not as a final destination, though we do get to plateaus, which are nice, but it's a practice. It's like yoga. It's just keep doing it. It's like meditation. You just do it regularly, and that's when the results come from the regular practice. Yeah.